Welcome to another video, guys. So today we are in a Kia Stinger GT. This is a car that's been interesting me ever since it came out. It's kind of Kia's new foray into the performance sedan segment, and as you'll probably know, this thing is actually rear-wheel drive. I've never driven really a Kia of any type at all, so this is all new to me. This car has a 3.3-liter turbocharged V6 making about 365 horsepower. The car's been tuned by RaceChip, so the car's pushing a little over 400 horsepower and potentially close to 500 foot-pounds of torque, all being sent through an automatic transmission to the rear wheel. So we'll see how this thing feels in the canyons. But it is competing kind of with the 5 Series segment of cars, even though from a performance perspective it's probably closer to like a 340i, but this thing size-wise it's probably closer to a 5 Series. The owner, Lawrence, really cool guy, opted not to be in the video, which is totally fine, but so he actually runs a carbon fiber body part company called Strictly Business. I'll try to provide a link in the description. He's obviously decked this car out with a lot of carbon fiber goodies. The hood, the mirrors. That being said, let's take it for a spin and see what's what. Right away, the interior is really nice for a Kia. Pretty premium feeling car. I really love this steering wheel. Flat bottom. Lots of leather and soft touch plastics inside. Nice place to sit. So the car is lowered on Eibach lowering springs. It's got an exhaust. It's got some aftermarket wheels. I'll provide all the details in the description. So right away, this has a very driver-focused interior. The seating position is highly adjustable, and the way I have it right now, I'm sitting really nice and low in the car. The steering wheel telescopes out to me really nicely. The paddles on this car, actually on the steering wheel, feel pretty premium. Compared to the 2020 Toyota Supra that I was just in, this interior feels up to par for sure. And that's not a bad thing, considering the Supra uses a mostly BMW interior. Whoa! With the RaceChip, it gets up and goes, man. Wow. It's a little touchy on the throttle. It's kind of difficult to make very minor throttle inputs. Not sure if that's due to the turbocharged aspect of the car or just the throttle tuning's a little bit wonky. Wow, I'm very pleasantly surprised with the chassis of this car. I thought at 3,900 pounds, this thing would feel like kind of a beast in the corners. You can feel the car is slightly traction limited in the rear. Thing just wants to rotate on throttle. So far, so good. Let's see how it does on the downhill now. Like I said, this car just wants to rotate. It actually feels kind of similar to the Supra in that regard. Even partial throttle, there's so much torque. Okay, so the brakes could use some work, definitely. I mean, after all, it's almost a 2-ton car. But once you have the suspension set, this chassis feels actually very, very neutral. The transmission's actually pretty good as well. It's not PDK levels of performance, but for an automatic, it's got pretty responsive shifts, especially the downshifts. You can just tell from the sound, this thing means business. That being said, this is first and foremost a pseudo-luxury full-size sedan. Even though this is a performance-oriented car, it's not going to handle like a Porsche. Steering feel is actually really nice for a car of this size and weight. Very direct, very little slop in the steering. The overall road noise and NVH inside the cabin is really, really nice. I think this thing would give, you know, any BMW or Audi or Mercedes of relatively the same price range a run for their money. Yeah, the throttle, when you're trying to give very minor inputs and adjustments mid-corner, can be a little touchy. Off throttle as well, you can feel the torque just drop off a little bit too suddenly. I swear, every time I exit a corner, I can just feel the car is turning from the rear. But it doesn't ever feel like the rear is about to step out completely. It's just a very little notion of oversteer that helps get the front end turned the way you want it to go. Overall, I'm really enjoying myself. I think this car is a really good first attempt by Kia into the luxury performance sedan segment. Hyundai and Kia have some of the best warranty plans in the business, so this might be a really good practical alternative to a more expensive car like a BMW 5 Series, or maybe if you're even cross-shopping this with like a 3 Series. The transmission does get a little flustered when I'm going full throttle. It doesn't quite know which gear to select, especially when I'm trying to use the paddles. So overall, I think this is a really good first attempt by Kia to get into, again, the full-size performance sedan market. I think this car feels every bit as dynamically capable as the competitors from BMW. It's even more fun to drive than some of the Audis I've driven. Overall, I'm quite impressed. I want to thank Lawrence again for letting me take a little spin in his Kia Stinger GT. Please check out his carbon fiber parts. He makes parts for a wide variety of cars, including the new Supra, as I found out earlier. I also want to thank RaceChip for setting me up with Lawrence. And as always, guys, hope you enjoy the video. Leave a comment, a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time.